Welcome to Onslow County Today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and today we are pleased to present our special guest, Harry Smith with the Onslow County Tax Office. We'll also be speaking with Sharon Russell, Onslow County's new Deputy County Manager. We'll talk with Jennifer Montefort from Onslow County Animal Services, and finally we'll talk with John Osborne about everything that's going at Onslow County 4-H. As always, we're so glad that you're here to join us for Onslow County Today. Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is Onslow County Tax Administrator Harry Smith. Harry, thank you for coming by Onslow County Today to talk with us.
Thank you, Lisa. It's great to be here.
Now, Harry, we're going to be getting kind of into the weeds a little bit, so we want folks to know that we're going to be talking a little bit technical, but you're going to make it as simple and straightforward as possible because it's time to talk about revaluation. And the first thing we want to really explain to our viewers is what is revaluation, or as you sometimes call it, reval.
Right. North Carolina statutes require that all 100 counties periodically review and revalue all real property in the county at least every 8 years. So basically when we're saying revaluation, we're talking about a systematic process of doing a mass appraisal of all real estate parcels. And primarily the reason we do this is to create and maintain a fair and equitable tax base for our citizens.
Now, you mentioned that the state does it and requires it every 8 years, but Onslow County has adjusted their schedule a little bit over the last about 25 years. Explain to me a little bit and explain to our viewers how that schedule has changed.
Well, as you stated, the state requires that you do it at least every 8 years, but it also gives the local boards of commissioners the opportunity to adopt a more frequent reappraisal cycle. And of course, by doing that, you're looking at values more frequently and you're not exposing your citizens to the big swings in the market that can occur over an 8-year period.
Right.
So our board adopted a shorter cycle back in the 1990s, and we first did a 6-year reappraisal that was done in between 2000 and 2006. And then we're on a 4-year cycle going forward. So this will actually be our third 4-year reval that we've done in Onslow County.
And a lot of that, like you said, is to avoid that sticker shock. The value of your home can change dramatically in 8 years.
That's correct, and as we've seen in our market over the past few years, it can change in either direction. So if you don't do it every 4 years, if you're in an area where your market value has actually decreased, then citizens were being locked into that higher value for a longer period of time if we didn't do it on a more frequent basis.
Well, very good. So now we're at a 4-year cycle, and we're beginning to prepare for that reval process. Explain what that process is like, what citizens might be seeing in the community, what will be the step-by-steps.
Well, there's a detailed process that we go through. Basically, when we're on a 4-year cycle, reval is an ongoing process for us in our office. In between the reval years, our appraisers are reviewing property characteristics, looking at the property, the parcel cards, and verifying that against field visits or aerial reviews of aerial photographs to make sure that the data that we have on each property is correct. As we get closer to the reval time, we start analyzing sales, and we're basically looking at market data for arm's length sales that have transpired in our community, and we use those as the basis for setting the new values. The next step in the process is developing what we call the schedule of values, which just has to be approved by our Board of County Commissioners. And basically what that is the appraiser's toolbox for valuing the property based on those rates for the next reval. And they're based on, like we said, data that's been collected from our local market.
And so your team is going around the county, you're analyzing data, and as you said, this is really ongoing for you all. This is something you really kind of have to touch every day. Explain to people who might not understand when you say real property, because there are differences in what is taxed and what real property is versus personal property.
Right. Generally speaking, personal property are things that are movable, and we're primarily talking about things that like manufactured homes that don't meet the criteria for real estate. That's another area we can talk about a little more in detail. Boats and motors, airplanes, business personal property, which would be things like computers and office furniture and fixtures, desks, shelving, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. And real property, again,
would be the land and the buildings that are permanently attached there too. Typically, we're thinking about commercial buildings or homes, the attachments like detached garages or sheds or agricultural buildings, things like that would be considered real property also.
Now, I know that you all make a real concerted effort to get the word out to the community in various different ways. How will people be hearing from you about the process?
Well, we're going to be doing some town hall meetings. We're in the process of scheduling one in each major area of the county, so before those town hall meetings. We also will be on the schedule for the municipal board meetings, so we'll be going to each municipality and doing a presentation at their board meetings. And we're also contacting civic organizations and professional organizations and offering to come to their association meetings and do presentations also. In addition to that, we will have information available on our county website on the tax page. And of course, here on G10, it'll be available for a while, I guess. And we're actually looking at producing some informational videos that will be published through social media or on our website also to give a little more information about the process.
Well, I'm glad you brought up social media because more often than not now, a lot of our citizens are communicating with county departments via our website, via our Facebook presence, and going through those channels. What sort of questions are you hearing? What sort of things are kind of those frequently asked or those FAQs? What's coming to you?
Well, a lot of times people obviously want to know what impact it's going to have on their taxes next year.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's not one of those questions that we can provide a definitive answer for. When you're looking at the reappraisal, when you're looking at your tax bill, rather, the reappraisal and your tax value is only one part of the equation.
Right.
Our job is to assess the value of the property, but we don't set the tax rate. Basically, that goes to a bigger project with the annual budgeting process where the commissioners have to look at the total budgetary needs of the county, and we provide the tax value, but then they have to look at the relationship between the tax value and how much money would be generated by a certain tax rate in order to determine how much each individual's tax bill will be. They won't know that until the tax rate is actually set next year.
Okay. Well, so I get my reval. I'm certainly going to be concerned a little bit later on down the road about that actual tax rate. But what if I get that revaluation information and I think, I don't think this is quite right. What if I disagree with that or I have some questions? How can I pursue finding out more about that?
Well, our staff is available to answer any questions that citizens may have once they receive their valuation notice. We will also, as we did last time, provide a process for citizens to have their appeal their value or have it reviewed with an appraiser, and we try to do that a variety of ways to make it as open and as easily accessible for our citizens as possible. Last time we did an online appeal submission process, and we plan to do that again this time, where they could actually go into our website, fill out their information, identify their parcel, submit attachments if they may have had a recent appraisal or if they've done some research and there might be a couple of houses in their neighborhood that they want to make sure we took those in consideration, but they can attach those attachments and submit it electronically. That's basically called an informal review process, and that happens basically with our tax office staff. There is a more formal appeals process, if after going through the informal review process, the citizen feels like they still are not satisfied with the result, they have the opportunity to appeal to the local Board of Equalization and Review.
Okay. So there is that process in place, and because you've got it online for perhaps our folks who have second homes here or are living elsewhere, maybe have rental properties, again, making it a little bit easier for them, streamlining that process.
That's correct. And the information on how to start the appeals process will be included with their value notice when they receive that, and it'll also be available on our website and through social media. Okay.
Well, we talked a little bit about the calendar. What will and how this is really for you all a year-round process, but when will the citizens really begin to start seeing information about this, and then when will the new tax values take place?
Information will be on our website in November.
Okay.
And we'll be conducting the town hall meetings in December, January timeframe with the town halls and the city council meetings. Information will also be available on our website, and we anticipate mailing the notices out somewhere around the end of January timeframe, although we don't know the exact date yet.
Okay, so in the next couple of months, getting those meetings going, starting that process. By the start of the year, end of January, start getting those notices out, and then we see those new tax values come to us. At what point will we be seeing that? You say end of January? End
of January timeframe.
Okay.
And basically the notice will request that the citizens, if they disagree with their value, go ahead and initiate a review process. We're going to ask folks to do that within 30 days of receiving their notice. And the reason we want to do that is because we have a fairly short window for conducting the informal review process, because when the Board of Equalization and Review convenes, they have to start no later than the first Monday in May.
All right. Okay.
So we want to make sure that we have time to conclude the informal review process prior to the board convening.
Okay. Now, Harry, we know too that there have been some kind of changes with regard to kind of people's placement within the county, whether they're in a municipality or an ETJ, and I know that you want to clarify a little bit of that for our viewers, make sure that they understand how that might affect them.
Okay, it's a great question. There are some areas of the county which may have experienced a change in their zoning or building permit authority, changing from the city to the county. And primarily what this involved was folks that may have been located in a city ETJ where the city decided they didn't want to carry on those responsibilities anymore, and they've asked the county to assume the responsibilities for the zoning and building inspections. So what happens in that case is, since we do have countywide zoning, then the county is responsible for zoning those properties. And
right.
What typically happens is they look at the corresponding zoning classification that was in place when they were part of the city ETJ and do the equivalent zoning for the county. So in effect, what happens is it really doesn't have any effect on the property value, that in and of itself. The only reason those folks may see a change in value is just because of the normal reappraisal process that we're going through, but it really has nothing to do with the change of the ETJ.
Whether they were in part of the city's ETJ, and when we say ETJ, some folks might not understand what that exactly means.
Let's talk about that. ETJ is an acronym for extraterritorial jurisdiction, and it basically is areas that may be just outside the municipal city limits, but the city still had authority for those processes in those areas.
I always kind of think of it as like a border that
right.
rings.
It's like a little buffer.
Like a little buffer, a little ring, and again, those who has authority, for example, over how something is zoned, and the county is making every effort to make sure that those zoning, whether the language is exactly the same, that it is.
Right. If it's residential, it's going to be zoned residential in the county, just like
Very
it was
good.
in the city, or commercial, whatever the corresponding code may be.
So there again, that change doesn't affect your property value. It's just the regular reval that'll take place.
That's correct.
All right. Well, Harry, if folks have more questions, or if there's something you wanted to kind of expand upon from this conversation, what else do we need to share with our viewers?
Well, just to reiterate, basically the only reason we do a reappraisal is to try to equalize the tax burden, because when we look at our real estate market over a period of time, property values will fluctuate. Some areas are in higher demand than others. Some areas may be impacted more by concentration of foreclosures in certain types of property. And basically what this does is bring everybody back to market value at a certain point in time, which in our case would be January 1st, 2018.
All right.
So we're trying to get everybody back up to our market value standard. The state requires that properties should be appraised at 100% of market value, and this just brings everybody back up to a level playing field, creates a fair, equitable tax base, and provides for a fair distribution of the tax burden.
Well, Harry, I appreciate you breaking this down for us so that we can all understand it. Certainly folks may have more questions. What's the best way for them to reach you?
They can look our information up on the website, or they can call our office to get more information. The main office number is 989-2200, and just ask to speak with someone in the appraisal department or myself, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And if there's anyone out there that would like for us to come do a presentation for a civic or a fraternal group or whatever, please give us a call and we'll be more than happy to share that information in person.
Well, excellent. Well, Harry Smith, thank you for joining us. We're going to visit with you again next month on our edition of Onslow County Today so that we can get even more valuable information. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here as always.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is a new face to Onslow County Today and a relatively new face to Onslow County, Miss Sharon Russell, Onslow County Deputy County Manager. Miss Russell, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
What we'd like to do is this is an opportunity for our viewers to get to know you. I'm sure many folks who watch our county commission meetings have had that chance to see you and see you working with our county manager, Mr. David Cotton, and his team. But this is a time to get to know you. So we'd really like to get a little bit of background. First and foremost, find out where you're from.
I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. So I am a North Carolina native, and I lived for a while in the Raleigh area, and then I've lived in eastern North Carolina for about 7.5 years.
So originally from that Charlotte-Mecklenburg area,
that's correct.
The Queen City.
The Queen City, that's correct.
And then certainly you went off to school. Tell us a little bit about your background, your education.
I went to North Carolina State University, and I have an undergraduate degree in chemistry. And from there, I went on and received a master's degree in communications from Radford University, and I do have a Juris Doctorate, a law degree from Campbell University.
Well, that is a broad range from chemistry to communications.
It is.
To your law degree. So really, you bring lots of different gifts and talents to the table. Where did you go with your law degree? Did you practice? Did you immediately go into government?
I did not. I actually practiced and was a litigation defense attorney for a number of years. I worked for a firm in Raleigh. I defended businesses and also got into defending counties and cities and other government functions when they were sued. And I started to learn a lot about counties and the role that they play in our communities. And I guess I was bit by the county bug at that point. I really enjoyed defending counties and really believed in what they were doing. From there, I went on to work for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners as their executive general counsel, and again learned more about the service that our local governments provide in our state. And then from there, I went on and worked actually for the National Association of Counties and did that job remotely from eastern North Carolina.
So really from your general practice and in defense and starting to learn more about what counties do on behalf of our citizens. And you know, we frequently talk about that, is that in terms of from the top down, from federal to state to local government, this
Exactly.
is really where the bulk of people's day-to-day lives are impacted by government.
Absolutely. And county governments reach every member, every citizen of our county with services that really matter to our quality of life. And they do so in a way that is so much more transparent than any other form of government. We see our county commissioners at the grocery store. Our kids play football or soccer with those who are in our elected positions in local government. And it is just the most effective and meaningful form of government, in my opinion, and is a very effective way of serving our community.
Well, you've said that you've lived in eastern North Carolina for a while, and now you've come back here to Onslow County, to eastern North Carolina, to make your home. I'd like to find out a little bit more about that, kind of not, a great deal. We don't want to pry, but we'd love to know who you are, and as you've settled back here in eastern North Carolina, tell us a little bit about your family.
I have a wonderful family. I'm very happily married. My husband's name is Jeff. I moved my parents, who were from Charlotte, down to eastern North Carolina a couple of years ago, so I have extended family that I keep pulling to this area. And I have raised 4 incredible kids as well. Wow. I have 3 sons in their 20s, and I have a daughter who is in high school.
Well, when we talk about that, we talk about the impact of service. I imagine that has probably trickled down and translated to your daily life, to your kids. How about their perspective on the community and community service.
Absolutely. It is a value that I have always held. I think that the true meaning in life comes from how you serve and how you serve your community and reaching out and making a difference. You can use your talent in a lot of different ways, but if you use it to serve other people, you've had a meaningful life. And my son currently works at the General Assembly. He's a staffer and enjoys that role in serving to research issues, to provide legislators background information so they can make better decisions for our citizens at the state level. My daughter would like to go into the medical field. She wants to serve the community in that role, and it's very exciting to see them begin to instill that value in their own lives.
That is wonderful to hear about, hear about young people taking that path. Tell us now that you've become part of our Onslow County family, what that means as you were making that decision, as you were looking at Onslow County. Tell us a little bit about your perspective on that.
Well, I think working for NACO, for the National Association of Counties, I had the opportunity to travel all over the country to counties and to speak with county governments all over our nation. What I really learned in that job, I learned many, many things, but what I learned is the best place on earth to live is Eastern North Carolina. And I am so excited to be in Onslow County. These are the best people on earth to live around. We have an exciting community. We have a wonderful, diverse mix with our military bases, with the coastal resources that we have, and with the wonderful interactions we have with all of the local governments here in Eastern North Carolina. I can't imagine a better place to be. Since I've been here, I've also been thrilled at the quality of our county commissioners, our elected officials, the current board. They are very serious about doing an excellent job for our citizens. And our staff, we have an incredible staff. Everyone has welcomed me with open arms, and I've seen such a high level of professionalism amongst our staff.
Well, you know, in the opportunities that we've had to work together, I just have appreciated your enthusiasm. I mean, it's contagious.
Thank you.
As you're looking at that, as you're sharing that enthusiasm, as you're being energized by what you're seeing, what's kind of your view for the future? What's kind of your vision about where you think that the county will be going? Kind of your promise or your ideals about what we might be seeing?
Well, as I said earlier, I think as a county government, our most important role is to truly serve our community and to really understand what our citizens want and what their priorities are. And I think a large part of that, from what I've learned so far, is we need to continue to bring more businesses and industry in to provide better opportunities for our citizens. And I would like for everyone to know how wonderful it is to live in Onslow County. I think there are many folks who don't appreciate all that we have to offer. This is an exciting area of our state. This is a wonderful county, and we've got a bright future ahead of us.
Well, that is fantastic. You know, that's the perfect point to leave off. Mrs. Russell, it has been a joy getting to know you in the last few months, and it's been a real pleasure to be able to share this time with you. As we leave off, what would you say to our citizens about their own county?
I would say reach out, get involved, let us know what you're thinking. Come to our county commissioner meetings. Our next one is November 6th at 6 o'clock. Get involved in your community in whatever way you can serve those who are around you, and engage with your neighbors, and let's all work together to make Onslow County even better.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and joining us now is a wonderful familiar face to Onslow County today, Jennifer Montefort. Jennifer, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, if you're here, it must be time to talk about animal services, the holidays coming up, some specials that you all have there at Animal Services. And the first thing we want to talk about is something that is just near and dear to both of us, and that is our senior pets. and adopting a senior pet. Talk to us a little bit about what you all have going on right now and why that's so important.
Well, November is Adopt a Senior Pet Month, so we want to get the word out. Often our senior pets are overlooked at the shelter. Everyone wants a cute little puppy or kitten, but we have some wonderful animals come in, senior age, which is we consider seven years and up, and they're looking for a home, and they make wonderful companions. So we want to make sure that everyone is taking that into consideration when they're choosing a pet.
You know, there are real benefits. We certainly all think about how sweet a puppy looks, but a puppy is like having a new baby in the house. I mean, it's, you know, figuring out training and schedules and all that energy. Talk about the benefits of a senior pet, especially for some of our folks who may live in smaller homes and may not want that rambunctious energy of a puppy.
Well, certainly, puppies are a lot of work. Little ones are a lot of work. So we have senior pets that come in that are already trained, already house trained, and just are looking for a warm, cozy spot to curl up in and to give and get some love. So we definitely want people to consider that, especially someone who doesn't have the time or energy to, you know, go for a 2-mile run every day. Certainly they need exercise just like other pets do, but maybe not quite so much. So they're kind of ready-made for someone who has a more laid-back lifestyle.
Who are ready to have that companion, but not maybe ready to have everything in the house chewed on.
Correct. It can happen no matter what age the pet is, but generally our older pets are a little more settled and a little less work.
Little laid back, little bit laid back. Well, also I understand that you all have an abundance, a blessing of cats and kittens right now at Onslow County Animal Services. Tell us a little bit about what you all are doing in terms of cat adoptions.
Yes, we have quite a few feline friends at Onslow County Animal Services right now, and we're really excited. It's been a busy few months for us. We've moved back into our main building,
yes.
So we have a new cat adoption room where we can feature more cats for adoption as well. So we are holding a special for this month, and it is buy one cat, get another for free. So it's 2 for the price of 1.
Okay.
So if you do fall in love with 2 cats, we'd love you to bring them home. Our adoption fee is $100. So if you do choose, you can take 2 cats home for the cost of $100.
You know, I love to watch cats. I have friends who have multiple cats, and their companionship that they provide one another is wonderful. We sometimes think of cat as solitary creatures, but you know, when you think of a pride of lions, they do like to have a buddy.
They do like to be in packs, and we do often have litters come in, and it's not easy to separate them. They get attached to one another, and if we can keep them together, we'd love to do so.
Well, what a great opportunity. Again, adopt one and receive that second companion for free there. Now, we also want to make sure, because we are getting into the holiday season, and it's not just stressful for us, as much fun as it can be. It really can be stressful for our pets, and we need to have some special considerations in mind to make sure everybody is safe and happy.
Yes.
And share with us a little bit, especially because with all the food in the house and the decorations and the friends and the family, can create a little anxiety for our fur family members.
It can be overwhelming for us as well as our pets. So it's really important to make sure that your pet always has a safe space that they can run to. If they're feeling a little overwhelmed, whether it's a crate or a room, that they can kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of the holidays. The times when we have a lot of friends and family coming in and out of the home are oftentimes we see a lot of pets get on the loose. So we always want to make sure that our identification, our microchip information is up to date, just in case.
All right, so making sure that everybody has their ID, making sure they've got their little happy place, and then certainly with all the decorations and the food and candles. Want to make sure that everything is out of reach and mindful of that as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So safety should be priority. We do have a lot of foods that can be toxic to animals that are out over the holidays, part of our holiday fare. So things like onions, garlic, grapes, raisins, things like that that we definitely need to be mindful of, as well as it's very tempting to give the dogs a little treat here and there from the table, but that can make them ill as well. So dog treats only, no people food, and keep the bones away especially. Right. So make sure that we're keeping those out of the way to where they can become a danger to our pets.
And more I've seen great recipes online and different resources for creating those kind of special holiday treats. So if you're baking your holiday cookies, why not bake some for your furry family members as well?
Absolutely. We just had some community members bring us some special dog treats that they had made. They had found a recipe online, and certainly the dogs enjoy that, but we just have to make sure that the ingredients are safe for them.
Exactly. So we want to remind folks, certainly November, Adopt a Senior Pet Month.
Yes.
Then adopt a kitten or cat and receive another one as a companion.
Correct.
For that same one price. And then always to be mindful of the holiday season. Now, Jennifer, last but not least, with the holidays coming up, we're going to have young people who have some time off. And I know that you all love your volunteers. How can people volunteer or help out in any way? How can they share that holiday joy and generosity with Onslow County Animal Services?
We are always happy to have new volunteers, and we have several orientations a month and are always welcoming new people in. So if you'd like to volunteer, whether you have a day or a few hours here and there, we more than welcome that, and we love our volunteers. So we do have a wonderful program at the shelter. If anyone's interested, they can find the information on our website as well as our application, and we can bring you in and get you involved.
And last but not least, you mentioned your website. How's the best way to reach you all? Because I know you have a lot of different opportunities there.
So our phone number is 910-455-0182. They can always contact us by phone. We have a wealth of information on our website, onslowcountync.gov/animal services, as well as our Facebook page. We share a lot of information on our Facebook page and can be messaged there as well.
Wonderful. Well, Jennifer, thanks for joining us today. Happy holidays, and we look forward to visiting with you in the future.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today. And we have a new Onslow County Day Today face, but certainly not somebody who is new to Onslow County, because every time we're talking to somebody about 4-H, you're always here. John Osborne, we're so glad you're here to talk with us today.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, as I said, frequently we have our other guests from Cooperative Extension, either Miss Peggy Garner, who is your director there at Cooperative Extension, or Ivy Reed with 4-H. And John, you're always just off camera, so we're tickled that you get to be on camera today and talk to us about 4-H. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about 4-H in the holiday season. And we know that we've just commemorated 4-H month, and we've talked a lot about your summer programming, and now it's time for 4-Hers to give back a little bit this holiday season. And the first thing we want to talk about is your Gifts Galore event. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Our Gifts Galore event is a holiday fundraiser in which we invite local vendors and independent sellers, artisans, crafters to come out. They pay a registration fee, which goes 100% to funding 4-H developmental programming for youth.
Wonderful.
And then we invite the public to come out and basically support our supporters.
All right,
So
there
at the
you
same
go.
time.
So this is a great event. This Gifts Galore is a great way to kick off the holiday season and come out and do a little bit of shopping and then the fees that your vendors are actually paying support 4-H endeavors and the development of programming for your kiddos, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, if folks are interested in attending that event and doing a little bit of that holiday shopping, where are you going to hold it? Will it be in the farmers market or in the main part of Extension?
It'll be in the main part of Extension in our multi-purpose rooms, and it will happen on Saturday, November 4th,
Okay.
at the same time as the farmers market.
All right, so a full day. Go to the farmers market, get some goodies, preparing for that Thanksgiving table, find some of those great jams and jellies and things that you all have out there. Then go inside and find some terrific gifts from your vendors. What time of day are we looking at for the event?
It goes from 8:30 in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon.
All right. Then the next thing you all have coming up is your annual holiday wreath sale. And I know I've already seen some order forms floating around. Tell us about the holiday wreath sale.
Okay, the holiday wreath sales, we do this annually. It's a fundraiser that we do to support 3 of our volunteer organizations at the Extension office, including 4-H. For $22, you get a beautiful 26-inch wreath, and it seems to last forever.
They
And they're
do.
very fragrant.
I can attest, I will give my testimonial that those wreaths will last well into the new year. I even had one stayed green until Easter. So they really do last a long time. And you all get these wreaths from Christmas Tree Service, Christmas Tree Farm in the western part of our state where we have some extraordinarily beautiful Christmas trees, correct?
That is correct.
So a whole day, people can order them. And again, you said the price?
The $26, and they can order up until November 17th.
Okay. Then you usually have a big pickup day at the farmers market site and people can come and retrieve their wreaths that they've ordered, correct?
Yes, that's correct. The week of Thanksgiving.
All right, so getting ready, starting to decorate. Now, again, we talked a little bit about 4-H giving back, and you all partner with Onslow County DSS on a program that we talk about very frequently here, and that's Elder Cheer. Talk about the Elder Cheer Day of service that your 4-Hers will be giving.
Okay, so on December 5th, that's in the evening, 6:30, we will gather all of the donated items that have been generously provided by the public and so many other departments here in the county. And we will assemble everything that include personal items such as toiletries, bathrobes, socks, activity books, gifts, and so forth. We assemble those that evening, and then the next day, DSS distributes those to all of our senior friends.
So your 4-Hers get to be Santa's helpers.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And then we don't want our kiddos to be too bored during the holidays. They've got some time off, and you've got a couple of workshops planned for them as well. Talk about those.
Yes, December 21st, we have a workshop at the Extension, and it's for $15. Youth will be able to come out and make their own gifts. And these are unique gifts that they'll get to make, and they can give to their loved ones.
Oh, that's awesome. So they've got a workshop. Are they going to bake as well? Is that I understand?
There will be a variety of gift options. They can do baking either for people or baking for our furry friends and pets.
Oh, that's awesome. And again, do they need to pre-register for that, or can they do that at the door?
They do. They need to pre-register, preferably.
Okay.
And we are looking at ages 9 to 12.
Okay.
So
So contact your office,
Yes.
pre-register, and it's $15. They can come and they can bake, and they can do some make and take gifts so that they can put that real personal touch on that. And finally, after all the holidays and just before the new year, you have something planned for your youngest 4-Hers. Tell us about the penguin party.
Okay, our penguin party is geared towards our youngest members of 4-H, which is what we call our Clover Bud group.
Right.
So that's for ages 5 to 8.
Okay.
So they can come out to the Extension office that day, and we have an all-day event where we will be doing everything crafts, arts, activities, education about penguins.
Well, who doesn't love a penguin?
Everybody loves penguins.
Everybody loves a penguin. And of course, you know, they've been all excited about the holidays. And then that kind of after holiday slump kicks in, and what a great way to keep them busy and doing something fun and learning about probably one of the cutest creatures on the planet. And so they're having a penguin theme day. Again, does this require registration? Is there a fee associated with it?
It does. It requires a pre-registration, so they can call the extension office, and there's a $15 fee. And to top things off, we'll also watch some penguin movies as well.
Well, awesome. Those are the best. All right. So you've got your gifts galore, a wreath sale, elder cheer, your holiday workshop, and a penguin party. John, is there anything we've left out about what's going on at 4-H this winter?
There's always things happening in 4-H and all the time. So I've just named some of our more highlighted items.
Okay.
So please, anybody can call us and find out more, or they can follow us on our 4-H Facebook page, Onslow County 4-H.
All right. One, you all have a very active 4-H page. I mean, it is fantastic. You're always got great updates on it and great activities. We do want to make sure that folks know where Cooperative Extension is located, just in case they might not be familiar with the area. Can we give them that area and that address, please?
Certainly, yes. We're off of Richlands Highway, so
Okay.
between Jacksonville to Richlands. The
Okay.
address is 4024
All right.
Richlands Highway, Jacksonville, North Carolina, 28540, or they can give us a call at 910-455-5873.
Well, John Osborne, it's been a pleasure to have you on camera. We know we get to see you quite a lot, but this time you got to come on and share with us personally. We appreciate you taking the time today, and we appreciate everything you're doing for the young people of Onslow County.
Thank you, Lisa.
As always, we want to thank you for joining us for Onslow County today, and a very special thank you to each of our guests, Harry Smith, Sharon Russell, Jennifer Montefort, and John Osborne, who had a lot of wonderful information to share with you about what's going on in and around Onslow County. As we enter this holiday season, we wish you all a season of gratitude and thanksgiving, and thank you as always for joining us for Onslow County Today.